Byron Brooks holds 2 graduate degrees from the University of Michigan. He was also mentioned in that New York Times Magazine article. He's a guest lecturer at University of Michigan and the chief Hood officer of Hood Black and Educated Consulting Group and founder of From the Hood for the Hood. Thank you, Byron, for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So your story kind of interesting. Your mother was in prison when you were born and you were homeless for a time, yet you went on to achieve great success in higher education. Much of the work you do now as an adult is centered around DEI. Why are these initiatives so important?
Most definitely. So DEI initiatives are not merely just important, they are essential. And not just for those who have been marginalized, but for the integrity of our shared humanity. As was stated, I was born in prison. However, I was blessed to be raised by my great-grandparents, the late Roscoe and Joyce Corner. And my granny and papa raised me with the unshakable belief that fighting for what's right isn't just a duty, it's a moral obligation. They taught me that justice is not something that we wait for, but something we demand and create. And DEI is a form of justice. It is the active work of righting historical wrongs, of leveling a playing field that has been intentionally uneven for centuries. When we talk about DEI, we're not just discussing quotas or checking boxes. We're talking about dismantling systems that exclude and building systems that embrace. This work matters because it changes lives.
Now, that headline that I was referring to in the New York Times Magazine article, it was titled, "The University of Michigan Doubled Down on DEI. What Went Wrong?" was the question. How would you describe the university's efforts on DEI when you were there on campus as a graduate student holding master's degrees in social work and also holding a master's degree in DEI efforts?
Yes, for sure. So that headline of that article, I believe it demands an important question. What do we mean by wrong, and then who defines it? So during my time at the University of Michigan, I saw a complex landscape. There were moments of immense promise and progress, and there were moments that reminded me just how deeply resistance to equity runs. But again, I appreciated the efforts that were set out, that we had strategic plans. And one thing that I loved about that is, as a student, I had the opportunity to actually serve on the DEI planning committee for our summit. So having that integral voice of the students' perspective, in addition to leadership, I believe that was crucial and essential. So I believe, again, we were headed in a good direction. No one institution or organization is perfect when it comes to DEI, but we were working towards what we could during my time on campus. And Trotter, just the history of Trotter and like orgs like BSU and other organizations that were pushing to help make the campus as a whole more equitable. It was a wonderful experience.
And you know, as of late last year, I think it was October, at the Regents meeting, the University of Michigan said it's going to revamp its DEI efforts. And their efforts, one of the most broad and well-funded, according to the article I referenced earlier, some $250 million has been invested into it. Now, as someone who is on the front lines of DEI efforts, tell us how, nothing's perfect, so tell us how DEI efforts can be improved, and also how these efforts that are designed to foster inclusivity and equity and diversion, how can these efforts not be so threatening?
Okay, so to hit the first portion in terms of how can these efforts be improved, I believe that first, improvement begins with honesty. We cannot improve DEI efforts if we are not willing to confront the uncomfortable truths about why they are necessary in the first place. That starts with leadership that is not afraid to name the systems of power, privilege, and oppression that DEI seeks to dismantle. Oftentimes, people talk about trying to fix a broken system. I argue that the system is not broken. It is actually working exactly in the way in which it was entailed to benefit those of whom benefit from this current system. And then also thinking of funding. Funding matters, yes, but money alone cannot buy transformation. The work must be rooted in community. There's a Zulu proverb, Ubuntu, that translates as I am because we are, implementing that and engaging the voices of those who have been historically silenced and placing their needs and experiences at the center of the work. And moreover, DEI cannot be a side project or a temporary initiative. It must be woven into the fabric of any institution, from hiring practices to curriculum development, from resource allocation to decision making. Equity must be a guiding principle at every level. And then when we get into the question of talking about DEI, how can we make it not so threatening? So with that word threatening, I ask to whom? I believe that is the real question. We must not pretend that this fear is incidental. DEI is not a threat to justice, to fairness, or to humanity. It is a threat to systems that thrive on exclusion, oppression, and inequity.
And we're
And
going
if
to have
that
to
makes
leave it
them,
right there, Byron. Thank you so much. My producer's in my ear, telling me, rap, rap, rap. But thank you so much, Byron Brooks, for joining us today. And we hope to be able to continue this discussion with you again. Have an amazing day.
no problem, you as well. Thank you.